So hello and welcome to the Tapas and Pretzels podcast. Today we have a new guest, Rafael Escaño, if I pronounced that right. So he is the senior principal customer success manager at MuleSoft. So hello and welcome, Rafa. Do you want to add something to your... Perfect. Do you want to add something to your biography? What are you doing, or have you any?
I always like to say that I am an unofficial restaurant tester here in Madrid. So if you're looking for suggestions of restaurants here in Madrid, I'm your guy. And my trips down to my downtown in Malaga are my personal battery chargers. So I like to go there as much as I can. But on the professional side, yes, I'm working for MuleSoft inside of Salesforce. But I have more than 20 years of IT experience, mostly focusing lately on customer success, but also, of course, professional services, service delivery, and so on in companies also like Oracle. And let me say that on top of that, and something that is my passion lately is everything that is related to communities. Personally talking, I'm leading a couple of communities here in Spain, and I like to relate all the work that we do on communities with also my passion with customer success.
That sounds very interesting. Also, the unofficial restaurant tester that matches also to the name of this podcast.
Of course.
But if we go back to the customer success, why do you think a community is important to grow this customer success, or how can a community grow, and how can you make it successful? How is your approach?
That's a very big and bold question. Mainly because, first of all, it is not so well understood. I guess that we all feel it. Maybe we are part of some community. When I mean some community, doesn't need to be a technical community. You are maybe part of the community of your neighbors where you live. Okay, so at the end, you are part of a community, and you have seen the pros and also the cons of being part of a community. The point is how to measure that value that it brings being part of that community, and I guess that's not so easy to see even nowadays in 2024. So that's one of the things that I like to talk a lot lately, because there's a concept that Gartner started to use in 2022 when they started to create a report on community platforms. That is the concept of community everywhere. And that concept means that the community is touching every single phase of a customer journey, or is touching every single area of any company, like sales, marketing, pre-sales, even renewals, support, and so on, in so many different ways, and always in a positive way. So I guess that we are moving from a world in which we knew that communities were good, but maybe we could not measure them, to a moment in which we need to put communities in our strategies. Not only customer success strategies, but also the overall company strategy. And I guess that is fascinating, and I love
that. I couldn't agree more, because I think in my basic philosophy, as a company, if you want to implement something successful, something crucial like an API program, for example, it's not done by just installing an API gateway. That's not solving the problem, because if you want to have adoption in a company, what you need to tackle is basically, technology, of course, but processes, and most important is the people that are using in the day-to-day work this concept, these programs. But how do you position yourselves like that? This is a message that is valuable for the upper management in an enterprise. How can you position this in a company? What are the best way to sell it?
Well, that's a different task to do.
I'm sorry.
It is. Well, let me say that First of all, I believe that if anybody wants to buy any product or technology, usually what they do is the due diligence on the features that the technology has, if that matches what I need. And also, of course, there's an economical positioning, also the position in the market of that tool. Is, for example, in our case, MuleSoft, the right tool for me or not? But lately, there's another sphere that we need to take into account. That is, what is the community in my country that can support my strategy? Because at the end of the day, when you are betting on a technology, if you are investing on a technology, you are going to be working with that technology for maybe years. So you need to know that there's something extra, that this is not a very niche solution that nobody is using, or maybe it is a solution that has no good support whatsoever. You need to also think that there should be a community, if possible, in your country. And I'm, let's say, underlining the country thing because the language barrier sometimes can be very big. I'm living in Spain, and we know for a fact that language could be a barrier. So not having a community in your country talking about your product could be something that could make decisions to go from one product to another. Okay, the point is, how can I measure that? Okay, Rafa, you convinced me on the key message, but how can you measure that? Well, internally, what we need to know is that without a community, maybe your costs for supporting your customers could be higher, and that's even measured. There's another metric, for example, I don't know if you're aware that more than 50% of the reasons why customers do not renew a product is because they didn't have a good onboarding. So here the community again helps on the onboarding. If you have people supporting you through the process on understanding the product and using it in the best way, then you are more keen to renew and to continue using the product. So that's another KPI to be measured. And I can be talking here about KPIs for forever, but the point is that now we are starting to see metrics also internally and also for customers saying, hey, the value of the community is going to take you to the next level, and here are the reasons why. Of course, you can discuss if they have more impact on the onboarding phase or the adoption phase, more on the growth phase. That's a discussion we can have. But let's say that we have moved from a moment in which we knew that the community was there and was somehow positive, but we didn't know why, to a moment that now we have KPIs to measure that.
Yeah, I think that sometimes we talk about the eternal discussion between business, or the eternal gap between business and IT. And from my point of view, communities puts their 2 cents on filling that gap. What do you think?
I don't know if I got your question, David. You say that the community is filling the gap of what?
Yeah. There is a traditional gap between business and IT. You mean that business people don't understand IT people, and the other way. But I think that communities can help filling that gap. I was asking, what is your position and your thoughts about that?
Well, usually communities are understood, mainly if we are talking about a technical products. Tim was talking about APIs. They are usually thought as, let's say, very techy communities where only developers and maybe architects are there. I am happy to say that in our MuleSoft community, we have even business-related people that they are not so technical, but they bring a lot of value, okay? And it is true that I believe that what I'm hearing inside of the meetups and inside of the sessions that we have inside of the community is that the language changes. You have people that speak your own language and can transfer the idea even easier. I remember having sessions on very deep technical data transformations, and the audience there was very technical and could understand each other. Believe me, there were even terms I didn't understand. But also, I remember other sessions like the one that you were also leading, David, on AI, where we had a person from the university talking about the impacts on AI in the law. Okay, so not technical at all. It was just the impact on our society of all these AI trends. And they were speaking the same language as the attendees there. So that gap that you say that still exists, I will not neglect that the IT world and the business world, sometimes they don't talk to each other. I see that gap to be even smaller because the atmosphere, the language, let's say the feeling, the vibes inside of the community are so good that people understand between each other very easily.
Based on the experience, like, because we had now had the gap of between business and IT, and I think you're MuleSoft. I mean, you're not only, I mean, you're famous for the API product suite that you have, but you also have recently acquired RPA, and with the integration of Salesforce, there are way more products to cover. But how do you organize a community? Is it usually like you put all like a horizontal slicing, like all the backend developers into one community, or the architects in one community, or is it more the vertical slice? It's like, hey, top down from the business management, whatever, all the way down to the, I don't know, DevOps or DBAs? What is your approach? How do you slice
it is open for everybody, but it's a very good question, because on how to organize my community is something that each different area does it in a different way. It's not the same talking about a full industry than talking about a specific product. Okay. So in our case, we are not closing the door to anybody from any area or organization. The point is that we listen to our members, and we create, or we talk about the topics that they tell us that they are interesting for them. And believe me, the topics can vary from very technical to non-technical. We are doing more or less like one meetup per month. We do them now after COVID. Everything is virtual or hybrid, so at least you can connect remotely. And we have seen a lot of interest from even other communities to join forces and to talk about topics that are closer to APIs. For example, the next one that we have this month, we are going to do it with Data Beers. There is a big community on data here in Spain. And because we have a lot of in common. I believe that you were talking with Eric in another podcast days ago on the strategy on data and APIs. Well, at the end, they are very mixed together. So the topics that we discuss are very useful for each of the communities, and we, let's say, benefit from that common discussion and interest. If your question goes more on how, Rafa, do you position the community internally to try to foster it, let me say that here I'm super lucky because Salesforce really believes on communities. We have a Tracer community that usually focuses on Salesforce products, so Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, and Service Cloud, and so on. We have a community that comes from MuleSoft, that is the MuleSoft Meetups community, and also there are still some communities for Tableau and for Slack. Okay, I don't know if in the end we will merge all together, but at least they are allowing us to have this kind of product flavor in our community, so we can focus our way of working in that way. For example, in MuleSoft, doing hackathons or doing this kind of events that are a little bit more techy sometimes are more interesting, and that's something that maybe doesn't happen so much on the Salesforce area because it's more related. So we have the ability of having even budgets for this type of events that are not so typical from Salesforce. Okay, but I'm super lucky because Salesforce is a company that really believes on communities, and I find it very easy to try to foster these things. Yes, and I'm sorry if I'm talking a lot, but if you allow me, I can extend forever.
I mean, yeah, first of all, yes, the episode with Eric was great because like bridging the gap between APIs and data is quite important. I really love that episode, and the podcast is to get to know you pretty well. So it's good if you spend on talking. That's our idea. And but David, it was your turn. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight the having that community experience. Well, I'm part of the MuleSoft community. I wouldn't say I'm a very active member, but I try to put my 2 cents every day. And what I really want to express is that, yeah, from the point of view of the IT people, having supported for a community is really great. You know, I'm a kind of solutions architect. If I'm going to, I need to architect some solution in using MuleSoft, I know that I'm supported by a community. I can talk to other solutions architects, probably, or most of the times on my competitors, you know, and we exchange insights, thoughts, doubts, and whatever, and that's great, you know, because that makes that, you know, that level of support really contributes to engage you and also the community. So that's really great for the growth of the product and for spreading the adoption of that product in the API landscape in this case.
But you are not feeling that competition, right? At the
No,
end, even though they are
that's the great
competitors.
thing. You know, that's the great thing, and I think that's because there is a community. So we have common and shared objectives, common and shared tasks. We work together in spreading that community, supporting other people that are new incomers to the community, and that helps to link each other beyond the common job we have.
Yep.
Okay, I just have one question, because you're talking about communities, and as I thought, for example, Stack Overflow put me through my bachelor's degree, I would say. But do you think something like AI enhance communities, or even not? What is your opinion about that?
What a good question. AI is going to impact everything, you want it or not. Okay. The point is that I love the human part of the community. As David was saying, that feeling of belonging to something higher than just my company and this product is something that really fosters the collaboration inside of the community. And that's something that AI, at least by now, cannot do it. Okay. I see the face of David. He has written so many times about the human part of AI, and I agree on that. Let me say that, of course, there will be plenty of things that here can be supported by AI in the community. Like, for example, the content creation. Content creation is one of the pillars of any community, because some other members are going to be using that content that you're going to be creating. So here AI will accelerate this a lot. I'm not saying that you create the content by AI and you don't take a look. Of course, you need to review it. But the point is that it's going to accelerate it a lot, and that is going to help a lot people. For example, we were talking about onboarding before. The onboarding phase of customers can be accelerated as well due to this. But again, it's not going to substitute. It's like another tool you're going to use. It's going to support you on your tasks or in your benefit. But we cannot forget about the human part of this.
I think the essential point in community are the human part. You know, documentation, whatever, can be highly improved with AI. That's great, but that means only, okay, you have here your reference documentation, you can make searches quicker, you can get better results, more accurate, but that's all. You know, if you really want to engage people, you know, you have to look at their eyes, you know, so you have to share objectives, you have to share love and care, you know what I mean? So, and I think that's the difference. That's why community product services are so amazing.
The body language is what counts. I mean, the Germans to replace by AI could be quite easy, but the Spanish way of expressing the body language, that will be a challenge. But do you have Rafa? Do you also accompany like communities inside enterprises, or like only public communities?
I don't know if I got your question. If we have like private communities and public communities, or
yeah, kind of. I have seen companies that actually have their own internal community about certain technology topics. So within, I don't know, for example, Siemens is one of the biggest enterprises here in Germany. They have their own communities that talk about a specific technology topic. Do you also help companies to set up those communities, or
well, yeah, you can talk it call them communities or not, but of course, internally in Salesforce, we have groups of interest where you can join and you can learn more about from experts. We have usually champions of any specific. I'm not going to say product. I'm even going to say features. Okay, so there's a specific feature inside of the software that the champion comes from product management, and he opens the door for anybody that wants to join to learn more from that. Of course, those are closed, are private. It's another way to learn internally and to, let's say, enhance your product knowledge. But everything that I was talking about before was more public, more intended for users or even for partners that they want to foster your product. But I agree. I guess that we started talking about communities of your neighbors. Every single community has some positive, some benefits. So inside of your company, you may join many communities. In my case, apart from the two communities that I was mentioning initially, I'm part of the Culture Guides initiative. Is a community inside of Salesforce to foster the culture of the company. So if you want, you can translate that as party manager. I am the one creating events, or let's say coordinating a team inside of Salesforce to create events in the Madrid office to foster the culture of Salesforce with my colleagues, the employees of Salesforce. That's like a dealer community inside of Salesforce. Also, we have for BTO, we are lucky that the company gives us 7 days a year to spend in volunteer time. So we have a group of interests for any kind of, let's say, we call it equality group. Like, for example, you like to do a lot of volunteering for sustainability or for equality or any of these others. We have even groups focusing on creating activities to support sustainability, like planting trees or removing garbage or these kind of things. So that's another little community inside of the company. And believe me, everything that I'm talking about is very linked to the culture of your company. So if you see the values of Salesforce, that is my case, there's a value of trust that goes even beyond. I mean, it's not trust that I trust the software. It's I trust my partner, I trust my colleague, I trust my coworker. So that means that you need to have this kind of good environment. So we trust each other. And in order to trust each other, you need to understand what I like and what you like. This kind of internal communities, let's call it this way, really helps fostering that culture inside of the company.
So thank you very much, Rafa, that you were here at our podcast. I think it was also very interesting. And thank you, Tim. Thank you, David, that you're also here. And I think we will see us at the next podcast. So goodbye.
Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.